I mean, Hull Kingston Rovers, a side that, well, you've not beaten since the Challenge Cup final. Does
Yeah.
that add extra zest to this game for you?
No, not really. It's this season's a completely different feel for what we're about, and though I think we've lost the last four games against them, they've all been up in Hull. So we've certainly had different teams as well during those periods. A lot of injuries through those times. So our focus is making sure that we're back home now here for our last two home games of the season, and looking forward to making sure we give a great 80-minute performance at home.
So, what do you make of Hull Kingston Rovers this season?
They've been consistent. You can see as a team that they're connected. They certainly know how to win, how to score points. If you don't complete high and you give them too much ball, they can certainly hurt you as well. So we're aware of what needs to be done. I think we've addressed that pretty clearly. We're in a good place ourselves, but we're also trying to improve another couple of levels.
Well, still on Hull KR, Mikey Lewis is a player that seems to be setting Super League alight. Have you been impressed with him and others in the side?
Yeah, like I said, I think they're playing collectively really well as a group, and last week was a game that was really important for them, which was going to separate that top two to see who's going to get the league leaders shield. So, they've been a consistent team all year. Mikey's played a big part in that. With the way that he plays, he's got that X factor about him and that unpredictability. So, we're going to make sure we've got our eyes on him defensively to make sure that we minimise his opportunities.
So obviously it's a home game for you.
Mm-hmm.
Still chasing that top six finish,
Yeah.
or maybe top four.
Mm-hmm.
Is it important that you maintain this momentum?
Yeah, that's the key. But the key for us again, Trev, like I keep saying every week, is just to make sure we take one day at a time and not look too far ahead. Of all the hard work that we've done, it can all be undone in two games or in one game. So we've just got to make sure that we take care of what's in front of us and what we're in control of.
So have you had a word with the players after the Castleford win, and were you impressed with various aspects of your own performance?
Yeah, there was some certain areas in that game where I was really pleased with. I think that it seems one of the areas that we're trying to address is to make sure that we stay off the yellow cards. I think it's a big part of every team moving forward for the rest of the season. But it was only through that period there where we did it tough at Cass. So I thought we blew 5 tries too. So we've created so many opportunities there. The fix is to try and capitalise on those opportunities that we've created or been creating in games, and then also just make sure we're disciplined.
You mentioned the cards, and obviously John Asiata was the man who suffered it at Castleford. Are you relieved that he doesn't seem to have had a suspension from that ahead of this week's game?
Yeah, not just it's just common sense really. Just a bit nervous that he may have been looked at for that, which should never have been even a sin bin in our opinion here. It's an area where I'd like to just say. We want to see every team play with 13 players. That we don't want to see yellow cards. It's the last thing we need in our game at the moment. Rugby league's hard enough with 13v13, let alone one player short. So some of the sin bins seem like it's unnecessary at the moment, and it was nervous about John's sin bin. To be honest, shouldn't have been a sin bin. Penalty was sufficient, but yeah, just grateful that he's in the squad this week.
Sam Burgess and Willie Peters have both gone on record saying that they feel the cards are a little bit too keen, or the referees were too keen with the cards. Do you agree with that? And are you concerned that eventually the playoffs and everything else might be decided by a referee's decision with regards to discipline?
No doubt that it's going to be decided by that in the next couple of weeks, without a doubt. I mean, but we've known that from the start. I mean, there's conversations about laying down. Every club's doing it, not intentionally. Ours certainly haven't done it, and as a coach, I don't promote that. I don't support that. But you've also got, if you get hit in the head, you're going to get sin binned or sent off or red carded or suspended. It's as simple as that. It's not. There's no grey area about it. The grey area is that some of the things that, I mean, I think we're up in the top 2 clubs for yellow cards this season. Part of the things that I think need to be addressed is just to make sure that if it's a 50-50, leave the player on the field. If there's no intent to it, or or whatever it is. I mean, there's different scenarios, there's different actions that certainly should be graded on, and there's if there's any head contact, that's a completely different matter. But if it's tackling the player in the motion of passing or anything like that, let's just be smart about it. That's a simple fix.
So, what about your team then? Are you all fully fit, or have we got somebody doubtful? Edwin Apapi, maybe, for instance.
Yeah, I think most of the squad's fully fit. A couple of boys with niggly injuries there, which we'll address on captain's run within that squad of 21. Edwin Apapi, again, has just had a small bump on the top of his shoulder there, so we've got to address that and give him up until kick-off to be available or ready for that. So he's the only main one, really, that's a chance of not playing.
You mentioned it's taking one game at a time, but Hull KR, is it, again, you must win this for a top six, or if you lost it, do you not really want everything on the Saints game?
Yeah, that's it. Again, Trev, it's 1 week at a time. We've got to... We're playing quite well as a team, but we know there's areas there we can fix, which I explained earlier on. I'm just looking at making sure that we nail that 80-minute performance versus Hull KR. We'll be in control of the outcome in that 80 minutes, not them travelling here. So, they're going to be fired up coming off a loss last week, and they're going to be frustrated with that they led in that game and they want to fix that. So I think it'll be one of the best games of the season. So, it'll be a full crowd here, capacity. It'll be great atmosphere, great conditions. So, it'll be a great game.
Cheers, Lammy. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Trev.
Adrian, is it the biggest game of the season since the last biggest game of the season?
Yeah, it is the biggest game of the season, Trev, and next week will be the new biggest game of the season. So, we've worked really hard to get ourselves into a position into that top six there, really, really hard. But it so easily can be slipped up if we're not focused. But I'm not concerned about that. I think our heads will be on there. I think it's just important that we give ourselves every opportunity to win this game. It's going to be tight. They're a team that score plenty of points, and they're defending well collectively as a group. We've got to be a little bit better than what we've been for the last 10 weeks. We know that, and we'll be ready for the rise.
What will make the difference, Lammy? Trev touched on it that you'd lost to Hull KR every time since the Challenge Cup final. So what's going to get you over the line this time, albeit with home advantage?
I think in the last couple of weeks we're connected as a team. I think everyone's on the same page. We understand the philosophy and how we want to play. There's a lot more clarity there, and players, more of our best players are playing. So with all that, having said all of that, again, we've got to play a disciplined game to make sure that we complete high and then minimise their opportunities.
You've touched on it already, Lammy, but a lot of the talk in the last few weeks has been about disciplinary issues, sendings off, yellow cards, sin binnings. Are you worried that that's sort of taking away the limelight from the actual product itself and spoiling the product? Yeah,
I don't really want to get into it, to be honest with you, Trev. I just, every coach knows what the rules are. Everyone knows, every player knows that if you get hit in the head, it's going to be a penalty. So it's the way that it's been from the start of the year. I think the RFL have done a really good job from where we were in the first quarter of the season for the last 3 quarters of the season. I think there's been a completely different change up with that. I think there needs to be still some little bit of touching up here and there with, if it's a 50-50, keep the player on the field and review it later on. We don't want to... I'm not a fan of 13 versus 12 or 13 versus 11. It's too hard. It's too difficult. So I think if any of those yellow cards are that 50-50, let's leave the player on the field.
And just the last one from me, a very local one, Lammy. Just a word for the Leopards women. 16 out of 16 going into the playoffs. Kieran's done a fantastic job, hasn't he? And as have the players. Yeah, absolutely great job. I mean, there's still a little bit of way to go for them, but the way that they've carried themselves as a team and a unit and represented our club has been amazing, and we're proud of them all there. They know that, and they're working hard too to finish the season on a high. Well done. Smashing. Thanks, Lammy.
Thanks, Trev.
Hi, Adrian. Hope you're well.
Hey, Drew. How are you? You good?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How's Amanda doing after last week?
Yeah, he's on feet running today, which is good. So he had little bit of a back spasm, so nothing too major to worry about. We could probably have put him back on the field the other night, but with the scoreline that it was, we felt that it'd just be a smart move to keep him off. So he'll be fine.
And Edwin as well. Was that an injury from a game, or was that a training injury?
No, it was from the week before. Just got a little bit of a bump on his rotator cuff, so we're just going to try and take care of that. So whether he's back this week or next week, we'll make that decision on captain's run.
And Lee are the form team in Super League now. That's 9 wins in 10 games, Adrian. I mean,
yeah,
the confidence within the camp, the confidence within the coaching staff must be sky high at this time of the year.
Yeah, there's belief there, there's trust there, there's confidence. So I think that comes with a lot of hard work, and it also comes with a leadership group that drives your standards. So we've been winning, but I still feel like we got 2 or 3 levels to go. And when we get that, we'll be a really difficult team to beat. So we've got to. We need to get that sorted as soon as possible. But at the moment, I'm really pleased with the way that we've gone about the style we want to play, both in attack and defence. And I'm pleased that our spine, our key players are getting more involved within our games, and our defence has stepped up a level. So really important time of the season to do that.
Stuff, Adrian. I'll pass you on.
Thanks, Drew.
Hi, Adrian. Martin here.
Hey, Martin.
Congratulations, first of all, on actually being in the top 6, and
Thank you,
on the second half of the season, which is one of the best second halves of the seasons I've seen for a long time.
Oh, thank you, mate.
You're just at that point where it would be a shame if it didn't continue.
Yeah.
Now, you could still drop out, as you've said already, but to go into the playoffs with wins in the 2 final games would be an incredible achievement as well, particularly given that those games are against other teams who are going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey this year with the group. We've had a lot of injuries. It was pretty well documented earlier on, and I'm just proud of the way that they've hung in there together and not given up faith or even questioned each other during times. It's always difficult, and a lot of players have played probably more time than what they should have, and a lot of young ones have had an opportunity, a lot of debuts as well. So, but now we're at the important part of the season. We've got our mojo back. Our confidence is high, but like you said, it can easily be flipped on its head. And I've been around a long time to know that if we don't keep our feet grounded and keep grinding away, that things can change really quickly. So, we're not falling in love with ourselves just yet. We're proud of where we're at, but we know that we've got a couple of levels to go.
Are you likely to start with the same starting 13 this week as you did last week?
Yeah, more than likely. Yep.
And just one final thing from me. We've talked about the yellow cards and so on until we're blue in the face, really. But I just wondered whether you saw the Salford Catalans game, because I think it was about the 67th minute. Ulrich da Costa had a collision with Ethan Ryan. And it looked as though he probably got him on the head, but instead of giving him a yellow card, the incident was just put on report. And surely that's the solution, isn't it? I mean, instead of, jumping to give yellow cards for every relatively minor incident sometimes, just put it on report. And I noticed that Da Costa has not been suspended or even fined or anything, by the match review panel this week.
Yeah, I haven't seen that incident, Martin, to be honest with you, but I tend to agree with that sort of mentality about the yellow cards. I think sometimes too that we can have an opinion from a third referee in the box that sees that there's a yellow card, and then an incident follows from the opposition team 10 or 20 minutes later that shouldn't be a yellow, but because one yellow's already been given, the second one seems to follow as well to balance it out. So that's just the little things we need to keep working on. I think the referees are doing a great job. Everyone's trying to work in together and get it right. It was something that we talked about as coaches at the start of the year. It's not going to change now with 2 games left in the season before the final. So it's something we can address at the end of the year, which we will do.